Glad to have you join us on today's edition of the Market Report on ADBN Television, live from Abuja studio in Nigeria. I am Adefola Olamilekon, your host of today's show. And right on the show today, we'll be talking something very interesting. In the last 3 weeks, there have been a really robust rebounding on Nigerian stock market, talking about a high premium expectation on Nigerian stock market, with a lot of people now banking on and profiting from the Nigerian stock market. There is a high expectation on high premium of stock on Nigerian stock market. I have to say it loudly, a lot of investors are smiling to the bank. The Nigerian equity market, as tracked by all share index, closed the trading week ended June 5th, 2025 in a very interesting positive territory, gaining about 2,874.74 points, driven largely by performance in premium stock. This represents a 2.57% increase, with the index advancing from an opening level of 111,000 to close to 114,000, and its strongest within the week and within the second quarter of 2025 performance for this year. Although trading volume dipped by 20%, actively remains solid, with over 3 billion shares traded, closing the week at a total volume of 3.02 billion shares. This bullish stride was accompanied by a surge in the market activity. A trading volume maintained with over 3 billion shares, signaling a stronger investors' participation and a clear tide towards the buying and great greenish day on the Nigerian stock market. On the other hand, market capitalization rose in line with price gains, increasing to 72.2 trillion naira, with the previous week of 70.4 trillion naira. There are about 53 equity appreciated in price during the week, lower than the 56 in the previous week, and 43% in equity depreciated in price, down from 44 the previous week, where 52 equity remain unchanged. On the other hand, the key highlight shows that the NGX Premium Index recorded a 5.91% gain during the week, supported by notable price increase, which rose by 17.60% and 13.96% respectively, with a gain below 6%. Here is the good news. The NGX 30 Index advanced by 2.5%, while the NGX Main Board Index ended the week with 0.93%. Interesting. Other sector performance also shows that NGX Banking Index led the sectoral index with 4.69% rise, driven by a 17.60% surge. There will be good news on Nigerian market, particularly the recapitalization of banking sector in Nigerian stock market. The insurance came next, as the NGX Insurance Index advanced by 3.36%, largely reflecting stronger gains of over 19%. On the other hand, the oil and gas sector index also posted a growth of 3.33%, fueled by 25.77% rise in one of the leading oil company, Oando, and 3.77% gain on the Arada cable. Meanwhile, the NGX Consumer Goods Index also rose by 2.33%, mainly driven by a 12% increase, where an NGX Industrial Goods Index ended up with an edge of 1.18%. All this good news I'm talking about is as a result of the robust increase, performance, and high stock premium on the Nigerian stock market. Meanwhile, going forward into the discussion today, I'm going to be having Ambrose Omordion, one of the leading stock analysts in Nigeria, who will be helping us to understand what has really happened on Nigerian FX market, particularly the stock market, in the last 3 weeks. So Ambrose will be joining me shortly. So, away from all this is to bring out the indication that Nigerian stock market is quite showing a robust, a rebound, and a very re-energized stock market, with over 114,000 mark, and appears to be inching towards a 115% level in the coming section. And a continued strength in the mid and large cap stock has fueled the recent surge, and this momentum can be carried into the next higher percentage. So what we are saying is that the stock market is gaining momentum profit. In the last 3 weeks, we have been seeing positive growth on the Nigerian stock market. So, Omordion, Ambrose, Chief Operating Officer, Invest Data Consulting, will be joining me shortly so that we can have a review, a dissection of happening, high expectation, great premium stock on the Nigerian capital market. A very good day to you, Ambrose.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Fine. And how is Lagos?
Well, very fine here.
All right. So, Ambrose, what is really happening on the Nigerian stock market? We are seeing a positive outing lately.
We are not surprised. No, a market where the company performance is top notch, at the same time we are seeing liquidity coming back to the market has already the monetary policy have given a signal that also they might likely be a rate cut in the next meeting. Not only just signal, we have seen that the government coming to borrow in the market, we have seen the rate or kind of the percentage in borrowing in terms of returns, that's 14%, 3%, is a bit remaining stable and also coming down gradually. A signal that we're more likely to see a rate cut. And on this, many smart investors, especially institutional investors, are repushing their portfolio towards where there is potential that these companies that have done well in the 2024 result and Q1 result are likely to continue that same trend in half-year result that is expected in the month of July. On that note, people are ahead of these numbers. That's what we're saying. And also, don't forget that in any market, where, like we just read that in through, when you see that high cap stocks are appreciating, and you name them as the premium stock, we agree. But most of them are beyond premium because few of them are outside the world after the premium index. But I say that this high stock prices has also impacted the market. With the recent result that came from Owando, and the one that came from Honeywell and Northern Nigeria Flour Mill, it sent us a signal that 2025 performance for companies have already given indication where they are going. If Owando then just released 2024 results, market is reacting to that result. That means in expectation of their Q1 better than what they've seen in Q1 2024. That alone, I think that every investment is against the future, and investors are using indicators coming from this earnings performance and what is happening in the economy, apart from what is happening globally. Knowing that yes, global market was seeing no oscillation, but with the renewed discussion between China and the US, that market also has changed. That means volatility is one of the instruments or one of the market dynamics that every investor must understand. How to manage this volatility. Something pushing that volatility or kind of driving that volatility. In our market here, the result was seen that it's driven by what? By earnings, money coming back to the market, and also expected that yes, it looks like it will be rate cut. And not only that, the reform of the government in 2023 today, especially as the economy is clearly looking up. Not that it has come to arrive, but we are seeing a sign. If that thing is sustained going to the future, going to be also a good thing for the economy, and that also reflects on the market the more.
Exactly. I really love your submission at the beginning of this discussion, but there is an atmosphere that many of us are also seeing, behind the scene of Nigerian stock market. Are we already moving away from the bullish outing that we experienced in the first quarter and early part of the second quarter? Are we now moving into the very, bullish outing and away from the bearish outing that we experienced in the past?
Yes, actually, I agree with you because the market for straight 6 years have been on a bullish run, and that's also for the current financial year or the current year. We have seen that in Q1, company performance have been good, and also in this second quarter of the year, look at the performance of the market in the month of April was positive. That of May was positive, and the last month, which is the month that usher in the third quarter of the year, we already seen that the month, which is before now, the history of Nigeria, the month of June is always the dicey month, a month of sale. But the reverse is the case now. This is the month people think of it, but now the month have turned to be the most active. That markets have moved from almost below 12,000 index to 112,000 index almost today across 115,000 index today. That the market is strong, and also funds are gradually coming back to the market, and that's why you must look at the world as market is breaking out all these new highs. You know to understand that there's something behind it because there's liquidity in the market. That's why it's going up, and at the same time, investors are doing what's called portfolio shuffling and sector rotation because government policy has already impacted negatively in some sector in the previous years. But now that same government policy also impacting some sector as speaking now positively, and that market also move that direction. That where we see that the consumer goods or the government sector are looking up because the numbers are coming there are looking attractive. Investors are pushing ahead of that, and that's why we are seeing that liquidity is going to both commercial sector, the financial sector, the agricultural sector, even the oil sector, because what we are seeing in Owando the last 3 days, last 3 days, I've also showed that because of the result, the sentiment have changed for Owando, and that's also good. But I will tell you, as far as crude oil price remain a bit below $70, most of these oil companies, those that are in the crude oil business, yes, might see their results of going up and down. But I believe that there's still potential in that industry if you will know how to enter at a low price and also exit at a good price.
Now, talking about price, something just came to my mind which I quickly need to ask you. Are we up to the surging noble price that we have been expecting? So what I'm asking is, are we now to the season that price will be coming and intelligent traders must take advantage of the price that they are seeing at this point in time?
Because anywhere in the world, it is a price that every investor, that's why I say price is king. But the good thing is that, yes, if price is king, and that's what is driving, we want to look at the decision whether to buy or sell, we must pay attention. That's why we call it price action. We must know what is happening in price. But like, I believe that as we enter into the second half of the year, the second half of the year will be a period I see that, yes, might see up market, but we don't expect market to go in one direction. Pullbacks will occur in the process to create opportunity to take profit and also to jump into a new position. But I believe that if there is any move at all at the end of July MPC meeting, there's a cut of rate, other 25% basic cut, that will also fuel the market in the second half of the year. I believe that then we'll now see a higher price. Already, I think that today the market have tested above 115,000 on the market. Yes, which for me is a good one. That people are really taking position in the market. At the end of the day, they make reward money and smile to the bank.
And now for most of our viewers, what they'll be asking right now is that, can this be sustained, or how long can we sustain this momentum that we are seeing, this positive, bullish territory that we are witnessing right now? How long can we sustain it?
In any market cycle, in a bull market, it's a sector and individual stock will usher that bull market. Also, when it comes to a bear market, it's also a sector and individual stock will usher that bear market. Now we're seeing a bull market that is going up. Yes, it's possible that by any moment, when you see also a sector or pulling back, they might usher in another correction. So I believe that now that all eyes are on half-year results in July, if companies beat expectation as we have seen in Q1, this trend we are seeing will continue. Only that they will must buy the intermediate pullback to create opportunity to buy. That's the only thing I will expect. Yeah.
Exactly. Now you talk about the government policy that have shaped and affected the market. Can you take us through some of these government policy in your own view that really impacted the market so far?
Actually, when there was introduction of FS, our currency, our market become cheaper because what we value our money. That's what we attract foreign investors. Yes, know that our market before now have been dominated by retail investor and institutional investor in Nigeria. But because of that devaluation, yes, it become attractive because market our stock becomes cheaper that people can buy. That's another one. Another one is that yes, the removal of subsidy. As also, I've seen how that will have impacted states, and because of anywhere you increase price, that sector will also make money. Because of increase in prices of petroleum, that sector during that period, which is the oil and gas sector, also have their prices to gallop because of what they have made money because of increase in price. This at the same time, also the monetary policy and also the FS become a bit stable because that many companies can plan. When there was kind of a movement from 400 naira to almost 1,005 or 1,000. People were panicking, but now from December to date, we are seeing a bit stability. That means company can plan, with this stability to say, okay, we can forecast that before the end of the year might be around highest 1,700 or below it. Already, you can see that have been hovering around the 1,500 and 1,600. If that remains, people can now plan and also forecast what they are doing. That is why stability will come, and stability is part of what is also. And also, I believe that if our economy can expand, because our GDP and also our inflation figure are pointing to where we are. With despite there was a kind of a rebase in inflation figure, which we saw in January and February coming down, trying to saw an uptick in March. Now in April, we saw another kind of a pullback again. If May can also go in that direction, it's a signal that we're likely to see another rate cut. If rate come, that means funds become cheaper in Nigeria. That also support expansion of the economy, and the market also benefit from it. These are the government policies. And also, if the economy is expanding and we're engaging, insecurity gradually will start coming. And that's why government want to drive this economy so that we can engage our youth, and the activities of good loans, everything will start coming down because people are engaged. Why people are engaged in all those vices? Because they are doing nothing.
Very interesting perspective from you, Ambrose. Now, I saw a very interesting news from the banking index of the Nigerian stock market. It has risen as a result of market capitalization. What's your take on that?
If you go back to history, if you remember when Soludo also introduced capitalization, after that year of capitalization, when they concluded, there was a lot of liquidity in the system. Already, we're seeing that 2026 is going to be the year for this capitalization also. The banks will be sitting on liquidity, on money, and that also help them to go into business, especially now that the banks has a holding structure. That means banks can invest in most of their structure to make more money. At the end of the day, to impact on their bottom line. I believe that the dream of the government to achieve the 1 trillion economy has also informed them to capitalize the banks so that the banks will be able to drive that growth, because we know that any economy, bank is the engine room of any economy, and if there's a the bank can lend. And also, if, like I said earlier, that we start seeing rate cut, that means people can have access to this money to work to drive their business. That is what we mean by what? By government policy reflect. And also, we are saying that the banking sector is going. I'm not surprised. The number that coming there is positive. And also, the banking sector also increase their payout. When you are rewarding your shareholders hands-only, their faith, their confidence in that company, that bank will work strong, because seeing that what will drive the price of these companies or their performance are becoming obvious for them to know. Because I believe that even when there is rate high, the banks will still make money, because more people will approach the banks for money because of rate cut. Because when it was high, they are still making money because of the high interest rate. But even though when they cut down, because of what they are sitting on now, bank will still make money. For me, and also, like I tell you that this is the most liquid sector in the market, that anytime you want to buy and sell, the bank stocks are available, buyers are available. That's why attention is always on this banking stock, because they are liquid.
Very interesting. Although we've not left out the insurance sector also. Their index also gained about 19.00. What do you have to talk about insurance? Because they're also part of the financial segment, but insurance is also coming up. We are seeing good results, positive one coming from the index stock market of Nigerian Insurance Company. What do you have to say about that?
Before now in Nigerian market, I said that insurance is an orphan. But gradually, I think that the interest has started coming up there because of what we are seeing, that the sector is also planning for recapitalization. And before now, they've done a lot of recapitalization, which market have not where their impact. But I believe that with the result we are seeing in the insurance company, that means this insurance has the capacity to take higher risk, to go into bigger risk. That means if that happens, that means the pool of funds for the insurance also increase, and that also impact on their bottom line. And also, we have seen the result that came from the banking, the insurance sector, for few years, which also were positive. Most of them paid good dividend, but more are yet to release their results for that 2024. But the one that's okay from Q1 2025, we have seen that there was a missed number. Only few insurance companies posted a really impressive number. While others, because of impact of FS, we are seeing the kind of a decline in their performance, especially the life of Mansard and the Cornerstone. I can just see that as a result that we have seen their FS have impacted their performance. But I believe that as stability that I've said earlier is coming back, every sector can plan with this exchange rate, and that will start seeing a better number going to the future. And don't forget that this insurance sector is also planning for recapitalization in 2027 and 2027. Yeah. Then also they are able to encourage their investors with good dividend. Let the directors or the management of Nigeria know that if they continue in their paying shareholders, it's going to hurt them when they are coming to the market. They should learn from the banking sector. When the banking sector were coming to raise money, they know how to reward their shareholders. That's why when they hit the market, shareholders will be able to take their rights and all that. But if insurance continue to drag it where they are, not rewarding shareholders, they might also go back to where they are before as an orphan. But now they are seeing a light that is coming to that sector. I think the regulator and the manager should wake up, know that this market, if you are going to raise money, you must kind of reward your shareholder, encourage them so that they will have faith in you and also invest along the line.
Exactly. I really love the way you describe the insurance sector as an orphan, although they are coming out of the orphan cage right now into the limelight. That's a good one. But let's take a look at the oil and gas sector.
Exactly. That is why the regulator must take it up that there's consistency, so that people will not be looking back. Oh, this way people are still this sector for a long time. But if they can reward their shareholder, that means they are kind of propose the capitalization in 2027 will be a successful one, because they should learn from the banking sector how they're able to scale through, because they encourage their investors and they also to take that risk by coming back to put more in there where they have faith. If they are not rewarding each other, their faith in the companies will be very low. That means if you really want to raise money in 2027, it is kind of start paying your shareholders good dividend. That means also up your game to perform well, so that because you can't pay dividend without having a good earnings. Well, can happen. That means they need to do more business, look beyond just the premium from the third party and all that, and do bigger business. At the end of the day, they impact their bottom line and also go to reward shareholder. But there are some others that are standing. The life of NEM insurance paying £1. For me, this is the first in the history of a market that was seeing insurance paying that amount. If that company can sustain that, that's a good one for insurance, for NEM insurance. And others that can copy that strategy or that. And encourage yourself that at the end of the day, when you come back to ask for anything, they will gladly give it to you as investor in your company.
Exactly. Very interesting. And we look forward to the insurance company recapitalization by the end of 2026 or thereabout. But let's also move to the oil and gas sector. We have seen Arade Orlando coming up with a very fantastic positive outlook. So what's your take on the oil and gas sector from Orlando to Arade, and many of them that are doing very well at this point in time?
If you look at that sector, I would say that they are well diversified. Because you look at Owando, you look at Steplat, look at Arade, they are not just only into food business. They all have gas, aspect of their business. And today, because of crude oil price is up, it's not stable, going up and down. But if they can take advantage of the gas aspect of their business, because I tell you, gas is very, very important, and also gas across the globe is also selling at a good price that also impact their bottom line. That's the prospect people are seeing that yes, these companies are well diversified. Apart from crude oil price and other things they are doing, we expect to see that their numbers should remain a bit stable, going to the future. But don't also forget that in a market where crude oil price is determined by international market, you cannot have 100% forecast or control of that. But if they can also expand their business in oil and the gas, as I mentioned earlier, that would be a good one for them. And also, most of them also are doing a filling station business here. What I mean, having to do the local marketing, which is also equally good at the end of the day for them. But I see potential there. But what to do, it depends on investment objective. If you're looking at Wando as a trader, fine. But if you want to be very defensive in that sector, I think other is a stock to want to put an eye. And also what? For Wando is a stock that yes, today they can come price up the next day because of what? The company's corporate governance is still shaking and they've not proven that yes, they can do. If that corporate governance comes to a good point, that also be good for them. I believe that will also have a way of also imparting for one good performance. That's the way I see it. But for Arade is a place to be for defensive. And for that of Steplat is when I know that the price is also good. But because the price is the movement of the price is very, very slow. Because to part almost 5,400 for just a stock, a unit of stock, that's why the price is visible. For me, investors that know what they are doing should know where to pay their worth, they should pay their attention in that sector. I see potential in that sector, but also you have to invest wisely to create wealth for yourself and of the work, the prospect, that the opportunity in that industry.
Exactly. As one of the key aspects that you are very keen about is the consumer good aspect. But we have seen a good side of it, a positive side of the consumer good aspect. But take us into what is happening in the consumer good index as we have it all good for them right now, positive. And for you are very keen on the aspect of the consumer good index. So take us through on the consumer good index as of today.
Yeah, for me, at the beginning of the year, they are still just pointing to where they are going because the last quarter of 2024 we saw a turnaround in some of them. So in 2025 first quarter, there was a confirmation that yes, there's a kind of a positive turnaround in that industry. For me, it's a good one. And don't forget that the major factor that threw them into red, like I mentioned earlier, was the exchange rate. Because most of them have foreign loans, either from their parent company or from that impacted them negatively. That threw most of them to a negative shareholders fund. But to speak now with the accounting, kind of re-engineering, and also some of them try to convert those debts into equity. We are seeing improvement, and if that is sustained going to the second half of the year, we'll see that sector will still go up because most of the stocks there are undervalued. Looking at what they are paid, their P ratio. But I believe that investors that also know what they are doing, if you have entered the stock at a good price, don't wait until it hits the roof because in a party where there's music, if you wait that until they off the music, you want to go out, you will be into with your pack. What you do before you buy into a stock, you have a goal. Once you get your goal, where is it? No sector remain relevant throughout. That's why sector is. As speak now, that is where we are seeing anything. Once you hit your target, you move to another because once everybody's looking at it, at the time I go that it will become more overbought. Looking at that index that's attracting almost above 40% above what year to date, which is also attractive. But I believe that we should not overflog it. Know that when you have made money there, know exactly when to go out of it because, like I said earlier, when you wait, everybody wants to go out, become a problem. But what is your target? Know when to exit before the whole market start exiting. That makes you what intelligent investor or trader.
No, I won't forget to mention industrial good also. The industrial good players, the Dangote of this world, the Boa Cement, and the rest of their material production. It's also showing a very positive side. But from your own understanding, those positive side can it be sustained from the industrial good side? We are talking about the consumer good, but here we are, industrial goods also posting a very positive outlook for us.
No, actually, for the industrial goods, especially the cement-related business, because our economy was still having a infrastructural gap, and also the housing today in Nigeria is not up to what is needed. That means that sector of infrastructure is what will drive the economy. And because you want to do infrastructure, you need cement to drive that. Whether you are doing road, you are building, you are doing anything. But most of this stuff, especially the Dangote cement and the BOA, I would say that their prices are remaining a bit stable because of what? Flat. Because of what? Because of the holding structure. But I tell you that the life of WAPCO, which is a Lafarge, that's the movement because of the news of Chinese entering that company. But actually, the word that comes from the sector, we have seen improvement from Lafarge. Yes, even when Dangote is paid 30 naira for the price is selling, that is still below 10%, and that of also was meant. But I believe that the value investor are in the market to make money. If you know a stock that is running flat for a long time, yes, you know that there's something that pushes the higher, higher, you can enter. But if not, it's not that you must put your fund in every sector of the economy. Where you see that the stock there are dragging feet, also the movement in price as is not having direction, you stay away from it, even when they're having good prospect, because the prospect you're having might not materialize immediately, it might be for the future. That means you are in the market to make money. I know that yes, every investment is against the future, but you know where sentiment is going, and that's key that because sentiment is what impacts price anywhere in the world.
Very interesting. But there's a big news that just came from the Dangote group that the Dangote refinery is preparing seriously to enter the market. Ambrose, I heard from several analysts also saying one thing or the other, but from your own understanding, Dangote refinery coming to the stock market, what are we, or what should we be expecting when they land into the Nigerian capital market?
Yes, like you just said, they will be hearing that they are coming to the market. It might be a dual listing, either in London, so that they don't like we see the Seplat. Might be a dual listing that they have Dangote refinery in London or in South Africa or in Nigeria, anywhere, which is also good for them. But one thing that we should give to Dangote is that look at the whole Dangote group. Their style of rewarding shareholder is something that shows that they have the interest of shareholder at heart. If that is continuing, that will also support them, taking position for this expected listing. But I believe that also before the listing come, investors should look at, yes, where is Dangote's sugar today? Where is NASCOM today? Where is Dangote cement today? And where are they going? Because if you are coming to list your company that, yes, the new one, let's say the new bride, yes, the one that is on brand, investors that are participated there because they have seen value, they also patronize the new one. And that's why I said Dangote have shown a kind of a trend of rewarding shareholders. Look at most of these the bourgeois in the market, because also they have the chunk of the market of the stock or the company, and when they are paying reward to the shareholders, they also benefit from it. And it is when they have done well they can pay reward. That's why we are so open that when Dangote come, it will carry also the Dangote's group, the life of Dangote sugar, the Dangote NASCOM, the Dangote cement, and others. Also they also plan to list their fertilizer company, which is also good. For this thing is that it's going to deepen our market, and that is what every market wants. Because we shouldn't expect that the NNPC should come to the market so that Nigerians will see arrows or kind of multiple stock on this to buy, because our market is still relatively small. It's not big compared to mature economy where we are seeing almost 12,000 companies on the exchange. Well, less than 250 stock here. If we can encourage more listing, that will also make our market more attractive. Also, it will also have more stocks to play. For me, it's a welcome development if they can come to the market. Yeah.
I hear you mentioning NNPC. A lot of people have said that NNPC also need to come. But what do you think is delaying NNPC listing on Nigerian stock market?
For me, they will give reason that it's because of the new management trying to look at what has happened. But don't forget that before this new management, the one before this one already prepared, they're coming to list. But since this one came on board now, it's expected that he has to also look at what is on ground and also do consultation before coming to list. But I believe that would be a big one that Nigerians would like to pass, because it's a national kick for us. And also it also brings transparency to the management of that company. Today, people mentioned Aramco. How Aramco is run, let every Nigerian look at it. It's a transparent. If we can sit in an NNPC, that will also boost confidence for Nigerians that also are foreign investors that yes, we are serious as a nation.
Very interesting. Well, Ambrose, before I let you go, what would be your advice to the Securities and Exchange Commission, NGS Group, and the rest of them, so that we can sustain the momentum on the stock market? Because a lot of people have seen a good positive outing on the Nigerian stock market. So what's your advice to all these agencies and institutions managing the Nigerian stock market?
For me, the first thing I will start from is that we want to deepen our market. The participants in the market is still very, very small. Even though I think that the equities there are small, we need more participants. We need more Nigerians to come. That means we need investment education. I'm so glad that that SEC, presented their budget. I saw more they kind of quoted a kind of release for training. If that money is truly implemented for training, we encourage managers to come and so give them proper education. That all these process schemes that most of them are paying for, they won't go there again. Because if they have the right education, what they can give for the market, they will not involve in that. I know that here, human being who might be insatiable, try to look for more, but if you know that the risk is high, but where you can take calculated risk in equity by training yourself or by learning and investing in what you can see, I think that is better. We need to do more of education. And not only that, also for NGS also to come up in terms of releasing data assessment group. So that as investors in the market, you have access to what? Yes, data, they've improved tremendously, but we need them to sustain that improvement by meaning that data information are made available as so that the fingerprint tip, investors can take a decision, market players also can take a decision. That is very good. We need more of this also. And transparent also to encourage more listing is very, very important. Because as we are seeing company, the listing, we need to encourage more companies to come so that it will not be that people are hesitating, nobody is coming. If they're hesitating for the back door because the market is free entry and free exit. If they're hesitating, encourage more entries so that the market will be balanced.
Exactly. I really like your submission so far on this discussion today, Ambrose. And thank you for coming on the show and gracing, to be our speaker on this particular topic for today. Thank you so much, Ambrose.
Thanks for having me.
Maybe hopefully by next week or thereabout, we may still have to call you because we are seeing a lot of rejig on the Nigerian stock market as well as any equity platform.
Nigerian investors are smiling to the bank.
Exactly. I said it earlier on the show introduction. They are all smiling to the bank. And it is our duty on this show to also make them know that a lot of people need to gain that understanding and that knowledge and be participants on the Nigerian stock market. So, Ambrose, thank you so much.